The literary movements next we have is formalism. Formalism, this is a type of literary theory and analysis which originated in Moscow and St. Petersburg in the second decade of the 20th century. And at first, the opponents of the movement of Russian formalism apply the term formalism derogatorily because of its focus on the patterns and technical device of literature to the exclusion of its subject matter and social values. Later, however, it became a neutral designation. Okay, so the leading representatives of the movement were Boris Eichenbaum, Victor Shklovsky, and Roman Jakobson. So this is a school of literary criticism originated in Russia and it's emerged in the 20th century. It originally focused in poetry. The Russian who developed it are called formalists. Roman Jakobson and a fellow formalist translated these things into English, and the English began to take notice of the different approaches to literature, and the formalist perspective was assimilated and developed by the French before it made an impact on the English and American theories. So what is formalism? There may be a question which is arising on your mind. So as the name suggests, formalism is concerned primarily with form or the structure. It's rather than interpreting what a text means, the formalist analyzes how that meaning is communicated through form or the structures. So, so we have a counterpart to that, that is Russian formalism. Russian formalism is the European counterpart of the Anglo-American New Criticism. Actually, it is a school of literary criticism that originated in the former Russia around 1950. And around the year 1929 to 1930, it was censured by Stalin and its center activity moved to Prague. So the leading figures of Russian formalism school are Victor Shklovsky, Yuri Tinagavo, Boris Eichenbaum, and Roman Jakobson, Peter Butler, Oris Brick, Boris Tomashevi, and Yuri Tirnavo. And formalism, this is in literary theory, what formalism refer is like to critical approaches that analyze, interpret and evaluate the inherent features of a text. So this is to analyze, interpret and evaluate the inherent features of a text. So the features may be like include it's not only grammar and syntax, but the literary devices like meter, trope, etc. So the formalist approaches reduces the importance of a text historical factors, the biographical matters and the cultural matters. Instead, it focused on the structure or the form of the text. So these critics studied the form of literary work rather than its content, and they are emphasizing on the formal devices. So what are the formal devices? That is such as rhythm, meter, rhyme, metaphor, syntax or narrative technique. So this is actually, we said earlier, this is a school of literary criticism that emerged in Russia around 1915. Okay, so the major figures of Russian formalism were Victor Shklovsky, Boris Eichenbaum, Roman Jakobson, Vladimir Prop, Yuri Tinagavo. So this approach to literature that was developed at the beginning of the 20th century and remained the primary approach to literary study until 1970s, when other literary theories began to gain popularity. So this began to spread English-speaking countries in the 1920s. So this is actually a reaction against the current literary criticism of the time that tend to focus only on the life of the author. So that is the historical, biographical sketch of the author. And so there are critics like T.S. Eliot, Robert Penrose, and Clement Brooks, they are people, they concerned the social value of literary sites or the other formalist critics. So there are things we needed to see. What is formalism? Again, Victor Schlosky actually, the other formalist, offered a theory of literary function, a critical interpretation, and art's purpose, and they emphasized the form and the structure in literature over the content of the text. So, and actually for that, they viewed literature as a collection of devices. So we have said there are formal devices. What are they? So that is the rhythm, meter, rhyme, metaphor, syntax, or the other narrative techniques. So that is a collection of devices that interact actually a textual field. So according to them, the purpose of literary art is estrangement. So this is again a school of literary criticism. A literary theory emerged in the early 20th century. This is an reaction against the Marxist literary theory, which believe in the roles of society in the text and the text in society. So the basic ideas works on the practical dimension of art. They focus on the form, how things are done, more than what is about. Since form is what tells stories or make meanings. That is, the moves of dances form the story of a ballet. And they have to do with the structural purpose of a particular text. The study of a text without taking into account any outside influence. The formalism rejects notion of culture or societal influence, authorship, and content. So they never give importance to the biographical or the historical sketches of the text, but they only give the formal devices. Okay, so Jacobson calls that formal device as literariness. So we will come to that later. Okay, so classifying works into genres according to the formal attributes. And fourth one is advocating methodological systematic reading of text, making literary criticism a science. And fifth one is literature is autonomous from external conditions in the sense that literary language is distinct from ordinary use of languages. And sixth one, since literature is made of language, linguistics will be a foundational element of the science of literature. And there is we have already told that Russian formalism, which was emerged in around 1915 and flourished in the 1920s, was associated with Opuzhas. Opuzhas, that's a movement, society for the study of poetic languages. And with Moscow Linguistic Society, Moscow Linguistic Society is one of the leading figures of which was Roman Jakobson. And Prague Linguistic Circle, that was established around 1926, and with major figures as Boris Eichenbaum, Victor Schlosky. So all these two schools, which one? Opuzhas and Moscow Linguistic Society. The school derives its name from form. Okay, and as this critics studied form of literary work rather than its content, so there is a fundamental difference between Russian formalism and new criticism. So new criticism, they focus on the internal unity of the work, form and content. They said form and content are inseparable, since form is the embodiment of a content or theme. So but Russian formalism, they focused on the practical dimension of the work by studying literary devices. Okay, literary devices are important for the formalist. For the new critics, form and content are equally important, which are inseparable. Okay, that is the main difference between Russian formalism and new criticism. Okay, this we have seen. So they focused on the form, not content, on language, not on exophora. So exophora means the biography, culture, history, religion of the text, which is included in that. So they emphasize on the functional role of devices. We have seen that of what we call as the literary devices. Okay, the formal devices. The ordinary language serves the purpose of communication. Literary language is self-reflexive, and that it offers the readers a special experience by drawing attention to its formal devices, and which for that Roman Jacobson calls that literariness, that which makes a given work a literary work. And that is what we call literariness, actually, as consisting maximum foregrounding of the utterances. So break the devices down into the constituent parts, and that is a text is made up of, we have seen this as literary devices. Lot many literary devices are there. So there are stylistic devices, literary devices, and narrative devices. So formalism actually views literature primarily as a specialized use of language, and purposes a fundamental opposition between literary, which means a poetical use of language, and the ordinary. So ordinary means a practical use of language. So it proposes that the central function of ordinary language is to communicate to auditors a message or information. That is by reference to the world existing outside language. So there is a contrast between this ordinary language and literary language. For that, it conceives a literary language to be self-reflexive. So literary language എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ സെൽഫ് റിഫ്ലെക്സീവ് ആയിരിക്കണം, സെൽഫ് ഫോക്കസ്ഡ് ആയിരിക്കണം. ഇൻ ദാറ്റ് ഇറ്റ് ഫങ്ഷൻ ഇസ് നോട്ട് ടു കൺവേ ഇൻഫർമേഷൻ ബൈ മേക്കിംഗ് extrinsic preferences, but to offer a reader a special mode of experience by drawing attention to its own formal features, that is to the qualities and internal relations of the linguistic sign themselves. അപ്പോൾ അതിൽ ആ ഒരു ലിംഗ്വിസ്റ്റിക് ലിറ്ററേച്ചർ ദർ ഇസ് എ ഡിഫറൻസ് ഉണ്ട്. അതെന്താണെങ്കിൽ ലിംഗ്വിസ്റ്റിക് of practical discourse, because its laws are oriented towards producing the distinctive features that formalists call literariness. അതിനെയാണ് literariness എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. അപ്പം literariness എന്ന് വിളിക്കുന്ന ആൾ റോമൻ ജക്കോബ്സൺ ആണ്. എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ that which makes a given work ലിറ്റററി വർക്കാക്കി മാറ്റാം. സോ ജുവാൻ മാർക്കോസ്കി എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ള അനദർ ക്രിട്ടിക്ക് ഇതിനൊന്നുകൂടി ഡിസ്ക്രൈബ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ലിറ്റററിനെസ് ആസ് കൺസിസ്റ്റിംഗ് ഇൻ ദ maximum foregrounding of the utterances, and the primary aim of such foregrounding, ഷ്ലോസ്കി പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ ഇൻ ഹസ് ആർട്ട് ആസ് ടെക്നിക് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ വർക്കിലാണ് ഷ്ലോസ്കി എന്ത് പറഞ്ഞേക്കുന്നത്, ലിറ്റററിനെസ് പറഞ്ഞേക്കുന്നത്. സോ ആർട്ട് ആസ് ടെക്നിക്കിൽ ഷ്ലോസ്കി പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട് ഈസ് ടു എസ്ട്രേഞ്ച് ഓർ ഡീഫെമിലറൈസ് them. So literary language is ordinary language deformed and made strange. Okay, literature, by forcing us into a dramatic awareness of language, refreshes our habitual perceptions and renders objects more perceptible. ഈ ഒരു പ്രാക്ടിക്കൽ ആൻഡ് പോയറ്റിക് ലാംഗ്വേജ് എന്നുള്ള പറഞ്ഞ കാര്യം പറഞ്ഞു വരുമ്പോൾ, പോയറ്റിക് ലാംഗ്വേജ് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഇറ്റ്സ് ഡിഫിക്കൽട്ടായിട്ടുള്ള, റഫ് ആൻഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള, ഒരു ഇമ്പീരിയഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള, നമ്മൾ ഓട്ടോമാറ്റിക്കലി വരില്ല അത്. വി നീഡ് ടു ഹാവ് ഒരു കോൺഷ്യസ് എഫേർട്ട്, അവിടെ ഡെലിബറേറ്റ് എഫേർട്ട് ഇസ് നീഡഡ്. സോ ഡിസ്റ്റിങ്ഷൻ ബിറ്റ്വീൻ പോയറ്റിക് ലാംഗ്വേജ് ആൻഡ് പ്രാക്ടിക്കൽ ലാംഗ്വേജ് വിച്ച് ഇസ് ഇൻട്രൊഡ്യൂസ്ഡ് ബൈ വിക്ടർ ഷ്ലോസ്കി ആൻഡ് അപ്ലൈസ് ടു ഓൾ ആർട്ടിസ്റ്റിക് ഫോംസ്. ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് ബേസിക്കലി വാട്ട് മേക്സ് എന്തുണ്ടാക്കുക, ആർട്ട്ഫുൾനെസ് ഓഫ് ആർട്ട്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ലിറ്റററിനെസ് ഓഫ് ആർട്ട്, ലിറ്റററിനെസ് ഓഫ് ലിറ്ററേച്ചർ. സോ അത് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ള ആളാരാ, വിക്ടർ ഷ്ലോസ്കിയാണ്. ആൻഡ് വിക്ടർ ഷ്ലോസ്കി പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ളത് ആർട്ട് മേക്സ് ദ ഫെമിലിയർ സ്ട്രേഞ്ച് ആക്കി മാറ്റും, സോ ദാറ്റ് ഇറ്റ് ക്യാൻ ബി ഫ്രഷ്ലി പെർസീവ്ഡ്. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ സാധാരണ കാണുന്ന ഒരു അനുഭവത്തിന് ആർട്ടിലേക്ക് വരുമ്പോൾ കുറച്ചുകൂടെ റിഫ്രഷിംഗ് ആയിട്ട് നമുക്കതിനെ കാണാൻ പറ്റും. ടു ഡൂ ദിസ് ഇറ്റ് പ്രസൻറ്റ്സ് ഇറ്റ്സ് മെറ്റീരിയൽ ഇൻ അൺഎക്സ്പെക്റ്റഡ്. സോ അങ്ങനെ ഒരു ഫ്രഷ് ആൻഡ് ലുക്ക് തോന്നണമെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ലിറ്ററേച്ചറിൽ വരുമ്പോൾ അവർ യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ടെക്നിക്സും ഡിവൈസസും എന്തായിരിക്കണം, അൺഎക്സ്പെക്റ്റഡ് ആയിരിക്കണം. ഈവൻ ഔട്ട്ലാൻഡിഷ് വേസിൽ ഷോക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്ന രീതിയിലായിരിക്കണം. സോ അതിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് അവർ ചെയ്യേണ്ടത് എന്താണ്, മേക്കിംഗ് ഇറ്റ് ന്യൂ, പുതുതാക്കി മാറ്റാം. സോ ഷ്ലോസ്കിയുടെ ടേംസിൽ അത് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഇങ്ങനെയാണ് ആൾ പറഞ്ഞത്, ലിറ്റററിനെസ് ഓഫ് ആർട്ട്ഫുൾനെസ് ഓഫ് a work of literature that which makes it an aesthetic object resides entirely in its devices. So which should also from the sole object of literary study. So the aesthetic value of purpose of art embodied in the devices consists in creating in readers or viewers a heightened awareness, making them see things പുതുതാക്കി ന്യൂ ആക്കി മാറ്റാം. സോ ദിസ് ഇസ് വാട്ട് വി കോൾ ആസ് ലിറ്റററിനെസ്. ഓൾറെഡി നമ്മൾ